So you're running for a seat at the Lagos State House of Assembly to represent the people of Eti-Osa too. Why the Lagos State House of Assembly? Why are you running to be a lawmaker?
Well, I'm running to be a lawmaker because laws are very, very important to how we live our life and we operate. And I came up with an agenda which is called the Eaglet Agenda. And one of the laws that I think we should pass is an education reform. If you look at the current state of our school, we need to ensure that the curriculum being taught in our school are actually up to date to the current reality. The quality of the environment of our school structure is conducive for learning. That's the E part of it. Our acculturation is that there was an article on the paper yesterday, and we had the highest number of prisoners. Nigeria has the highest number of prisoners in the world, and there are a lot of first-time offenders, people that were victims of the system. So instead of just putting people into prisons, right, there should be some sort of intervention program that we do for them to ensure that they have a second chance. The third objective would be to government reform. We have this thing where people come for offices, everybody is running to contest, and then after people gain elected office, everybody just goes back into their silos. So with this, the other reform I want to also pass is that with government reform, it won't just be a case of you going to an office and you're being elected, but that surveys will be done, opinion polls will be done to find out at every level, at the local government level, that okay, how is your person there performing? Is he doing the job? You understand? And their salaries will also be tied to that. Then the fourth one is law and order. The idea of the police is to protect. When we have policemen that sometimes they engage in extrajudicial killings, that is wrong. So we're going to pass a bill that will ensure that anyone that is caught doing that is prosecuted. The other one is economic empowerment, which is very, very essential because we have a lot of people that are in our SME sectors. They need loans. I was in a meeting with creatives on Monday, and you could see that there are a lot of these guys, they have passion, they have ideas, but there's no one to support them. So we want to pass a bill to ensure that there's a bill that's coming up, but this is just for the whole of Lagos. So we need special bills at our various local government levels to ensure that our creatives and our local government levels have access to loans and grants. Fine, there are organizations that do this, but the problem with that is that because of they're from the finance sector, they always want projects that can be viable. But we as government, we have to take a risk and give these people a chance. So giving loans to boat builders, giving loans to creatives and people in that sector. And the last one will be technological advancement. Now, there's a report that was done in 2030. All the top paying jobs by 2030, according to World Economic Forum, will be technologically based, right? You won't be able to do any job in the future without technology based. So we'd also need to pass a bill where we have regular programs where we're training people in our communities on various things from programming to basic skills to ensure that we're prepared for the future and we can seize opportunities as they arise.
So, Mr. Disu, I want to touch on the bit about the police, right? Yes. And finding ways to essentially make them answer to justice. Mm-hmm. I find it interesting because you're running for a House of Assembly seat, mm-hmm. and the police is a federal body, right? Yes. We already have, the current conversation on trying to decentralize that system. Yes. How would you, at the House of Assembly level, be able to influence how any sort of justice or judgment or reprimand is done and conducted within a federal body, security body at that?
Yes, thank you. Okay, I believe that first of all, I think that policing, first of all, is even a local thing, right? Because in every local government, in every ward, you understand, you have a unique set of people there. So I think that first of all, the first thing that we even propose is that Lagos State should have its own, it should have its own special, what's it called, security force, right? And so in that case, they are answerable to us.
Now, how would you do that without the Constitution backing it? At the moment, I mean, there's already the regional security outfit.
Yes.
Regional is a lot more different than saying that the state should have its own security force.
Yeah, so that's part of what I want to pass. As part of one of the bills I want to pass at the assembly, right? So I want us to be able to get our own security for Lagos.
Do you perhaps think that other lawmakers would share your stance? Because I think this was Amotekun first debuted sometime in 2020, I believe. And since then, even though it's quieted down, there's been a lot of controversy around it. Not Amotekun itself, but around the creation of regional security outfits.
Yes, there's a lot of contention about regional security, but the thing is, like I said, police is okay. So the current structure of police at the federal level, right? You have police in every single state, but the thing is that it's not. I think to be the word is to be very effective. You need to have it at, because the closer you are to the people, what's the various crime, the loopholes in the system, the crime. So there needs to be one in the state.
Right. So we'll take a moment. If you're listening and would like to contribute to the conversation, we'd love to hear from you. It's our Newsmaker segment here on Now Breakfast on Radio Now 95.3 FM. We're speaking to Ajibola Disu. Mr. Disu is running for a seat at the Lagos State House of Assembly. He's looking to represent Eti-Osa to Eti-Osa to constituency, pardon me. He's running under the African Democratic Congress. The numbers you can dial 0913 5,953. Again, 0913 5,953. You can also send us a WhatsApp message to the WhatsApp line 0809 682 2595. Again, 0809 682 2595.
All right, so Ajibola, let's talk about you personally. So you seem to have interesting ideas that you want to implement when you get in the house. But what makes you best suited for this job?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Okay, so I have experience in the private sector as well as civil society. So I work with local charity organizations, and we try and look at some of the issues that we have at the grassroots. So two of them is, one is because of the harsh economic climate, people couldn't it's difficult for people to have food, so we go around, once a month, and then we identify local communities, we give them food items, foodstuffs, and we also we target children and people that of in that gap, and then we get them into school. So we go to them, we go speak to their parents. Some of them can't even afford education because of the harsh economic climate. So we get a list of everyone, and then in batches we send them to school.
Right, but that's just your charitable work,
yes.
Right? And quite frankly, anyone can be charitable.
Mm-hmm.
Still doesn't mean that every charitable person should run for office.
Yes.
So what are some of the, I'm asking in terms of some of the hard transferable skills, right, that you say you possess that makes you the best fit for this job?
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Okay, so one, I'll say I'm a person of character, right? I've demonstrated good character in places that I've worked in, both in the private and public sector. Number two is, I would say, competence. I have knowledge on the various government offices, and I would say three, I have a passion for community development, because I've been doing community development for about 10 years, and it's something that I'm really passionate about.
Right. And so in going into the Lagos State House of Assembly, so you have a plan, things that you want to do, but also you need the backing of a community.
Okay.
How would you describe your standing in your community right now, where you are seeking to get these votes from?
Okay, so can you clarify that understanding?
What kind of a person are you in your community? Beyond where you live, how active are you in community engagement? Is there a track record of you, making an impact in that community that we can verify at this very minute?
Okay, so like I earlier said, I work with I volunteer with local charity organizations, and then we provide benefits. So that's mostly what I do in my community.
So, Mr. Disu, perhaps the question is really whether you think you can sway voters. It's not about community now. Okay. It's that they will go to the ballot, identify your party under Eti-Osa 2, and elect you. So being engaging doesn't mean that you're electable.
Very, very true. Okay, so I'm engaging in campaigns. We're going to the street. We had a street campaign. So we had a campaign in some markets about 2 weeks ago. We were in. I'm trying to remember the name of the market. We were in Obalende. We've been to Oniru Market, and we're also planning to do other storms. Talk to people, tell them, when we get to office, these are the kind of things that we're going to implement, right? And we're also trying to convince people that, look, especially for economic empowerment, because right now things are hard, and a lot of businesses are not able to fulfill their potential. So, when we get to office, right, we're promised to give people loans and grants. So that's
before you go into that, I'm wondering how people have received these promises that you've made, and you as a person, because if you speak to some regular Nigerians, as long as you're not amongst the top three parties now, they'll tell you, they'll actually ask you to your face why you're wasting your time. So I'm wondering how they've received you on the platform of the ADC.
Okay, so in the last storm that we did about 2 weeks ago, so we just didn't do, because it was me and my other colleagues, so we went all the way from Lekki to Ikoyi, and I mean, people were very happy to see someone that was very young. They were like, there was this lady at the store. She was like, are you joking? Like, so she had the kind of reaction that you'd expect, that, okay, this guy is not from the top parties, but he was like, wow, you look like my son or something like that. And it's like, okay, you have my vote. So, we have some positive reaction. And obviously, some other people too are like a bit apprehensive, because they poured out like, look, for the past 8 years, you guys just come, you tell us lies all the time. That's how you come now. Maybe you're even a new design that they brought. They'll bring a young person here, and you come and tell us all these stories. And at the end of the day, everything just goes back to what it is. So, but we try and convince them that we are different. We're a new party. We're based on morals, and we also want to make things better. But so so I would say it's more of a positive reaction than a negative one. But we do have some people that are, but they're not complaining about not being part of a big party. What they really want is change. They want, because they kept on complaining about, for the past 4 years, everything has gone up. The prices of food. We met a meat seller. I said, can you imagine how much money I have to spend to buy raw materials? He even told me that for the past 2 days, he has not gotten customers. That he doesn't even, he can't even see any positive solutions to the situation. So yes, he wants change, right? And that's really their outcry, really.
Right. And when you do get it, if you do get into the House, you will be faced with, you might be faced, depending on how this election goes. So I don't want to preempt anything, but if you do get into the House, you might be faced with an overwhelming APC House, right? And I don't know how how your membership will be received. Okay. But I would hope that they are democratic enough to recognize that you're there representing millions of people. But you know how politics in Nigeria goes, right? Where things tend to happen along party lines. If you make it into the House, as a minority, and you find yourself a minority member, how do you hope to reach out across the aisle to get things done? How do you hope to reach out and convince other politicians who are bitter that you bested their own candidates in your community to end up there? How do you hope to get them to work with you to deliver some of these promises that you have just, outlined that you've made to your people?
Oh, that's actually a very good question. Um, well, I would answer the question saying that I think that this election is going to come as a surprise to many people, because I think that a lot of people really want a change, like from like elections. So, well, okay, I won't continue along that line, but yeah. So to your question, I will try and negotiate and I convince people that look, some of these ideas I have, it's not just about party, but it's beneficial to the whole of Lagos. Because I mean, when I'm talking about the education reform, it's not just for my constituency, for the whole of Lagos, right? And it has bearings on the future, right? And I believe that they would be reasonable enough to see that these goals are not just for my party or for me as well. Because I mean, right now, I mean, the way things are, if things are not. I mean, we've had the NSAS protest, which is clearly showing that people are, they are really really clamoring for a change. So I believe that they will be reasonable enough to see that these things are not just for me, but for the whole of Lagos.
Right. And for you personally, what's in this for you?
What's in this? What's in this
for you?
Well, to be honest with you, I do believe that the time has come where we as individuals, right, we need to take a step towards a better future for the country, because we can't all just be sitting on the sidelines thinking, complaining that things are not getting better, right? I think that if we believe that we have the qualities that it takes, that we need to step up to the plate. So the time is now.
That's it for you.
Yeah.
All right then. So how can people engage with your campaign? How can they contact you if people want to learn more about what you're doing, in Eti-Osa? So how can they keep in touch?
Okay, so we have our website. It's adc.org. I'm also on Twitter, electajd_23.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
All right then. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We've been speaking with Ajibola Disu. He is the African Democratic Congress Lagos State House of Assembly candidate for Eti-Osa 2 constituency. So if you live around Eti-Osa, what are the areas you cover again?
It covers Victoria Island, Ikoyi, and Obalende.
Victoria Island, Ikoyi, Obalende. Okay, so if you live around this area, Mr. Ajibola Disu here is running to represent you at the Lagos State House of Assembly. If you think that you could use better representation at the House of Assembly, then engage with his campaign, ask questions, and see if what he's proposing is a good fit for you. That's our time this morning, and thank you very much for stopping by the studio this morning. Appreciate that.